We will quickly move into the technical part as well. Before that, a quick overview. So you would already be having access into the commercial references and how the subscription part numbers are. It's just this slide just gives a quick view of how this is selected. As you might see different options. We will share this presentation with you as well. But if it's just monitoring, it's an essential software. And if it is monitoring plus controls, it's usually an advanced software. And similarly for enterprise, it can be like core or enhanced. So of course, this is something we can update according to each requirement and each customer's play. And there are a lot of commercial resources which are recently updated, and you should also be having access to this, or we can enable this. But there are some really interesting sales presentations customized for the different retail segments like Nuran categorized right now, for QSRs, restaurants, for hotels, for fashion retailers. Specifically, we have customized presentations, case studies also customized based on the segment, brochures, and a lot of product videos also recently made available. So we have a lot of resources now available for building Activate. Also, My Learning links as well for you who all eco experts who have access to it. We will share this as well, but there are a lot of other hardening guidelines as well around cybersecurity, around what is the AI module that Building Activate is going to take up by the next quarter, and so on. So, yep, a lot of resources available, and we would be happy to facilitate that for you. All right, so once again, pausing in case there are any questions, or I'll just hand it over to Dina.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Aparna, for giving the brief introduction about the solution. And let's jump into the the solution slides we have. Okay, I will set my screen. Yeah, hope everyone can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so now with this deck with the recommended architectures, we're going to see the various architectures we can propose with EcoStruxure Building Activate, and what is the limitation for EBA, and additionally how to approach the site with a site survey, like a pre-sales and post-sales activities. Everything we can cover in this. Okay. So this is the gating architecture. It having the limitation complete limitation of the EcoStruxure, and through one Flux server, what all the solution we can deliver. So actually in the Flux server, we having as an internet connectivity, we having three options. One is Ethernet, then the Ethernet plus cellular, then Ethernet plus cellular plus Wi-Fi. So we having three different versions. This was the internet connectivity. We are wherever there is limitations in the customer cyber security policy, where clients not allowing us to connect with the network, so we can select the gateways accordingly, Flux server. And in the downside, the device segments, if you can see, each Flux server is having a limitation of 500 register points maximum. On the 50 devices it can support, one Flux server which I'm talking. which is all communication protocols combined. So the Flux, it will support direct BACnet MSTP or Modbus RTU, it having onboard port. And additionally, it having two USB ports, which we can use the converter like a USB to LoRa to capture the LoRa sensor data, and we can use the USB to RS485. So these can be selected by the project commissioning engineer during the commissioning phase. So these are all the limitations for the one Flux server. Through one Flux server, what are the things we can achieve in one site? So this is typically the large retail architecture. We had implemented a couple of projects the similar manner here in UAE, and mostly in other parts of the world. They are using these kind of typical architectures. For example, apartments, and there is a H&M. We're using this kind of architectures to monitoring and control. So if you see that use cases which I mentioned in the right side, these architecture, it will cover the centralized EMS. We are using the panel servers and the Zigbee power tags to monitor the energy data. And additionally, the HVAC and lighting automation, we are using BACnet IP communication by to controlling the VRF units. So then there will be additional asset compliance. We are monitoring the fire alarm status, air curtains, and controlling the air curtains. The indoor air quality sensor we had installed, and UPS status if you want to monitor also. It having the Flux having the SNMP. It will support SNMP V2. So these all kind of asset compliance the Flux can support. So if you have any questions, you can just shoot. Yes, Nora.
Can I speak? Yes.
Yeah.
So Dina, can you go to the previous slide with all the protocols? The previous one?
Yeah.
Yes, so this one. So for example, for the BACnet MSTP and the Modbus RTU, we are limited by the number of ports. But for example, for the things communicating on Ethernet or Wi-Fi, is there any limits to the number of devices that we can, since it's one Ethernet port connected to the network, so can we do as many Ethernet, BACnet IP or Modbus RTU devices as long as it's less than 50 devices?
No, even though BACnet IP, for example, we are using our IP communication devices, RPC or ASP. So through that, we are creating the devices in our commissioning portal. So whichever the device it is, we are configuring as a one device in the commissioning portal. That will be considered as a one device, either through the template or through the BACnet IP register. So the limitation is all protocols combined is a total 50 devices. It's either BACnet IP, BACnet MSTP, Modbus RTU, or LoRa. All communication protocols combined, we have the limitation of 50 devices. So since it is only dedicated for small and mid-scale retail buildings, so that maybe the number of devices, it won't maybe mostly exceed with one Flux server, but we have we are allowed to use up to 5 to 6 Flux server for one building with one site. Yeah.
Can I ask another question, please?
Yeah, you can.
So if we have a device connected to the RPC, how is this counted? Do we count only the RPC as one device, or the devices connected?
No. RPC is not considered as a one device. Inside the RPC, there will be a registers we will create as a BACnet registers. Okay, consider there is we are controlling one air condition. Okay, the air condition, what are the points we have? We are going to control the on and off of the air condition. Then there is we are going to install the temperature sensor. Then there will be a status on monitoring the other points of the same air condition. So that air condition, it was whichever the points we mapped for that using the IO points, that will be created as a one device. So these IO points which I'm talking, then additionally that RPC it having the Modbus RTU. So through the Modbus RTU, whichever devices we are connecting also, that will be calculated as a one device.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
There are two questions in the chat then. Node legacy.
No. Yes, Fadi, it won't support Zigbee directly. So we have to use the panel server. So whichever device we are configuring the panel server, we have to create a template, Modbus TCP/IP template. So through that template, we are integrating the devices with the Flux server. I will walk you through that templates also. We can see that later slides.
There's one more question. Flex work as a local gateway.
Can Flux act as a local gateway simultaneously with the being a cloud server?
So, Fadi, are you asking about if the network connectivity to the Flex goes off, will it work as a local control device?
No, I'm asking if, sorry, hello everyone. I'm asking if in some cases the customer wants to connect these devices to a local system. Sometimes he would already have it. And in parallel to the cloud or to the EBA. So would the Flex server work acting as a local gateway, so serving to another local, possibly PME or EBO?
No. Yes,
It don't
yes,
work
Fadi.
with that.
It won't work as a local gateway. Actually, it was dedicated to collect the information from the other field equipments or other IP controllers, and host the data to the our dedicated cloud, our private cloud. Yeah.
Clear. Thank you.
So we move to the next slides. Yeah, this is what the larger retail architecture we discussed. Then similarly, the QSR architecture also, if you see the use cases, maybe we can use that centralized EMS and water consumption and hatchback and lighting automation and asset compliance, everything we can do. So this is one of the retail project execution we recently successfully deployed in Dubai, H&M site. The site, we just had a simple site survey, and we noticed they having they're having some kind of local automation they did for the lightings, like they segregated the lights for 30%, 60%, and 100%. So they're having a manual switches for that. So through the switches, their local store team were controlling those lights. And additionally, they having the basic Honeywell thermostats, which is controlling the AHUs. So these AHUs are pretty high energy consuming equipments, around 5 kilowatts. So what we did is simple automation. We just find a suitable our Schneider replacement thermostat with a communicable one, which we having a TC903, and they having a dedicated DBs for lightings and AC, and so we put a energy meters for all those DBs. The reason was so this will help us to identify the loads where there is later like a pre-control and post-control, we can prove the energy savings whether how much we achieved or not. So if you see that there is a 4 layers we saw, one is a site equipment, we just simply put our thermostats and energy meters. Then the equipment interface, we just used the 2 RPCs, and we used the pulse relays for the lighting control. Then there is a one edge gateway, IoT gateway, and through that we using 2 different communications. One is BACnet IP for the lighting control, and another one is Modbus RTU communication to integrate the thermostats and energy meters with the Flux server.
On this, I'd just like to add, this architecture was fairly simple, but the value it drove was multifold. So this is H&M again, right, with Alshaya, and they are, when we began with energy savings as a pitch, because we saw there was a lot of leakage at their stores and we could drive energy savings, it wasn't a key priority for them, right? Because their priority was the brand recognition, so more on marketing and sales revenue. However, being such a large group, they had a sustainability director, they had group COO, CFOs, and by mapping these people, we were able to drive this initiative internally and deploy at 4 of Alshaya sites, of which this is one site. And once we deployed and showed the value, we ended up saving 15% saving energy consumption on their electricity at the utility bill level. Not just equipment level, utility bill level, we could drive 15% savings. And that became an eye-opener for everyone across the organization, even for the brand president and for the senior leadership of Alshaya, because while their priority remains on sales revenue and so on, energy cost, energy reporting was a mandatory requirement from H&M as a brand. So they were anyways going to put some monitoring system in place, at least smart communicable energy meters. And with a value-added automation to the same site, they were able to position it better with the global H&M brand. So it became an entry point for us. Today, they are talking more use cases like indoor air quality management and, again, people counting and so on. But this is how the journey usually begins. We identify a site, we do site survey, and we create an architecture which is simple and replicable. That is the way we can enter brownfield sites. If it's a complicated architecture with a lot of IO points and modification at site, it will become difficult to scale at a point. Pilot is still doable, but scaling would be difficult.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ibna.
On that, I'll just take one more question from Ali Shehata regarding the cloud, whether it's SaaS model. So yes, Ali, it is a SaaS model. The cloud is the EBA data is hosted on a private cloud, and it is a software as a service model. We don't do on-premise. We can give the option as a one-time software license, usually like 5-year or 8-year license or so, where we're just packaging the recurring software revenue into a one-time cost for the customer, which means, of course, subsidized rate, and probably we charge for 4 years instead of 5 years as a part of the package. And also that's just commercial dynamics we can work out. But we don't do on-premise. Technically, it is feasible to have data hosted on-premise as well. But we didn't find the need with most customers for this. There have been questions around, is the data hosted in a private cloud? Is it secure? Which we usually counter with a lot of cybersecurity guidelines that we have in place. And due to that, we've been able to navigate this. But yes, right now it is on cloud and not on premise.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibna. So moving to the next slide, if you see, this is one of the supermarket project we executed in KSA. So this is a luxury supermarket, and they have a requirement for energy savings, and additionally they want to monitor their refrigeration systems, and they want to monitor the load consumption. So we just consider if you see this architecture, we consider that all 4 different communication protocols over here. We used Modbus RTU for metering, and we used BACnet MSTP for AC8000 thermostats. Then we used Modbus TCP for power tax, energy monitoring, and then there will be a LoRa sensors. So all 4 communication which one Flux servers. Through that, we integrated around 20 equipments in this particular store. And additionally, we drive the savings in the store, and we are expecting the potential scale up for 30 more sites in this year, actually.
And here as well, the customer's requirement began different. They wanted to digitalize their stores, make it smart stores. So what they had done, they put Google Nest thermostats at the site, and they had a platform on which they were automating things. However, Google Nest, over a period of time, started failing. The thermostats were not communicating onto their dashboard properly, and the schedules was not working. So the whole intent of putting Google Nest started failing, just because it's meant for homes, not for enterprise-grade customers. So with our architecture, especially with SE8000s, and of course, adding more use cases, like Dina told about metering and long-range sensors, especially wireless sensors for display chillers, freezers, which are far away from where the gateway was. So all put together, it became a very strong use case. We again drove 14 to 15% savings on the utility bill here. It's good to know that it's a 24-hour supermarket chain. a convenience store that you find in petrol stations. But despite that, we could drive good savings at this site as well. So again, simplified architecture, multi-use cases, and focused on reducing the utility cost.
Yeah, so this is the end of that architectures which I want to intend to show. Then we can see that what are the steps we need to follow for the EBA deployment actually. So for any solution that when we are begin for the deployment or when we are proposing the solution, we have to first conduct the site survey. So there is a couple of forms also we having a template. I can say there is a template for site survey. There is a template for the deployment that we can walk through after this slide. So first, the team who gonna need to visit the site and they need to understand what are the requirement for the customer, and so accordingly that architecture will be developed with support by me or whoever the solution architect locally available from Schneider side. So then that deployment, we having the three different phases in the deployment. One is the pre-installation. So like we saw in the previous slides, like we saw in the previous slides, there is a different communication protocol we used, right? BACnet MSTP or Modbus RTU. So these, except the BACnet IP, we need to create the templates for all other remaining communications. So that template creation is done by the backend ROC team. We having the team position in India. They will do that. Then the hardware deployment, it will be done by the team, the partner, our eco partners. And the remote commissioning, it will be done by the team who locally trained for EBA. So after the commissioning everything done, then the data will be shared to our backend team. Then there will be a dashboard preparation, and the dashboard preparation and the one-time dashboard preparation, it will take 3 to 4 days. And once the similar architecture we follow for the multiple sites, that will be automatically, the dashboard will be created within a day, the next day. And then there will be a dashboard handover and training as a completion of the project. Okay, that's all actually from my end. If you have any more questions, you can just shoot from here.
So this part, of course, it wrapped up very quickly, this slide, and we wanted to spend some time on the partner portal and these templates, which we can do in the following trainings as well. But this is very essential part that firstly, everything is standardized in terms of how to do the site surveys, what to capture, and then for deployment, to make it retrofit friendly for brownfield sites, there's some pre-installation templates and all already created. If we follow the standard architectures we saw in some of these slides, then the hardware deployment becomes quick and easy, and then commissioning is mostly done remotely. And then the dashboard preparation and all gets done after that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Fadi.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. So I understand from you that the dashboard has to be, designed by, prepared by the team. It's not widget style drag and drop or anything. Is that correct?
Yes, actually that the widget kind of things, it will be created by the backend team for the first dashboard. If you are following the typical architecture with the typical naming everything for the future sites, the dashboard will be automatically, it will be created for the site from the site too.
No, I mean, if the customer decides to change something, we will not be able to do it as system integrators. We have to go back to the engineering team.
Yes, with the current dashboard, we can't do that, but we are going to launch in this year Q2 the dashboard 2.0. The dashboard 2.0, that is possible. So we can create the widgets by our own.
Okay. Second question: what kind of views there are? Meaning, if a customer has multiple sites and he wants each, let's say, engineer or certain people to be able to access certain sites, and then management access the overall view of all the sites. So basically, you would have dashboards for each retail or each shop, and then you'd have an aggregated totals for all and so on. Do we have this kind of access control or
Yes, yes, we have. Actually, we having a centralized overview for that COO level or manager level, who having the, in the FM managers who want to see the sites, all the sites. We can there will be a centralized overview for all sites combined. Then there is a site overview. The local site team, the site manager need access only for that site. That can be enabled. Even for the controls also, in the similar manner, there will be a different kind of access we can generate, we can create actually.
what about a system integrator view if we are managing more than one customer?
Yeah, for even for you also, there will be a system integrator. So which all the sites you are going to commission, which all the sites it is under the particular commissioning engineer who going to commission, that access will be enabled by the backend team.
Okay. Last question. Sorry if I'm taking too long.
No,
Are there any sort of, I mean, we said it's AI powered and so on, so I assume there are analytics that we can set, like base load and then alarming that can, and possibly, of course, scheduling with some kind of alarm view or alarming that can be sent out, I don't know, whether email or SMS or something?
So currently we having only email email alerts. The dashboard, it will be generated through the dashboard only. We don't have any local alarm system which our Flux server can generate. So yes, that based on our set thresholds, that alarm email alerts will be generated for the recipients with a 15 minutes delay period.
Since most questions are related to the dashboard and it came up in the chat also as a request, I know we are out of time, so let me see if I can do this in a minute, in 60 seconds. But what you're seeing is to cover some questions you raised, Fadi, around how the dashboard view would be like. This is how it is categorized. So there would be if I'm a corporate leader as a customer, this is how I would see all my brand, each country and region wise, a breakup of all my sites put together, right? And you get to see critical views based on based on each persona in the organization. There are various views that are enabled, and this is heavily customized. So it's like a geographical view, all sites put together, outlining the ones which have problems like alarms, which are the sites where automation is not deployed, and you can actually, with a click over here, deploy that as well. How many alarms are there, or top 5 out of my 200 sites where alarms are there, and majority of it is critical. So categorizing the alarms based on low, medium, high, and critical, seeing by state how many have been completed, and if someone needs to assign or escalate this alert, that's feasible from here. Now, energy consumption ranking. So what is the energy performance index of all my sites put together? Top 5, which are above my EPI target, shows up over here. And again, you drill down and you get to see further views, like which are the problematic sites and what seems to be the reason why consumption is high at the site. Maybe it's because of dirty filters or some other electrical equipment which is consuming more than it is supposed to. Then if you want to see comfort at the site, visibility into the temperature, the humidity, and other parameters at the site, what is working well, what is not looking good. CO2 is high at one zone, which means if I need to just switch on the ventilation, it's taken care of, and that CO2 should come back to normal in a few minutes. So this view also covers controls. So it's not like a typical BMS where you see a lot of graphics and a lot of control points. No, it's meant to be a simple controls, basic controls, because that's what small mid-sized buildings require. There you can change temperatures, control the fan speed or the mode of the system. And then if I'm just going back, that's on operations. Overall, how many sites are there, where my schedules have been deployed. Blue indicates how many bypasses have happened over this period. If it's a store where, if there are 50 stores where they have a sale period happening and the ACs need to run an extra hour, there's an override where they can do like a bulk override. All these sites, all my equipment is choose run an extra hour, and they can define it from here. But if you have refrigeration equipment, what is the temperature range as of yesterday? What's the profile been like for the last few days? Again, asset health related concerns. While on asset health, there's a few more insights that comes out from asset analysis. And finally, sustainability score. So again, it's not a PME. It's basic energy monitoring, wages monitoring that we do. But this becomes sufficient for most customers in this space, retailers especially. This becomes more than sufficient, where they see the trend of their water, gas, electricity consumption, a Sankey chart breaking it down region-wise, and CO2 emission calculated, and so on. Yeah, I think it went a little more than a minute, but that's a quick dashboard demo. I can see there's a few more questions in the chat. How are we on time, Menna?
Yeah, we can proceed. Aparna, you can at least answer the questions in the chat. Answer Shaltut's question.
Sure. Yes, Ahmed.
Okay, hi again. So when we're saying there is a dashboard related to asset health, which assets are we referring to, and how do we calculate the asset health?
All right. Yes, fair question. Asset health for most, it depends on what segment, again, we're talking about. Retail specifically, it's mostly been refrigeration asset health, air conditioning asset health, and to some extent UPSs as well. Wherever there's like power quality issues and so on. Here it's fairly simple, right? What we are monitoring is perhaps the energy consumption, power quality, and environmental compliance, temperature, humidity, CO2, or related parameters. Now, the asset health, to give you just an example, if I need to do for a refrigeration health analysis, I'm just correlating two data. I would monitor the power consumption to the temperature achieved in the freezer. And I'm giving an insight to the customer that there were these many instances in the last week where the power consumption remained high despite achieving the temperature, or the power consumption is consistently high, but the temperature is not achieved. So just pulling out data simply through power tags or meters and sensors, but the system is correlating this information. We can create a logic in the alarm threshold saying that these two points have been happening, that is power consumed high, temperature not getting achieved, which means indication that your compressor might be faulty or it's about to fail. Or the AC is running at 50% capacity because it's a 12 kilowatt unit, hardly consuming 6 kilowatt for the last 1 week. So it's just energy meter sensors, right? The hardware we are putting is simple, but the data correlation and creating the alarm according to that is where the asset health analysis gets to it. Simple again, it's not as detailed as what we see in our other EcoStruxure layers or the software layers, but again, becomes sufficient as a starting point for small mid-sized building.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions?
I think that's all.
If that's the case, it would be great if I can pose a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right, thanks. So I hope this has been helpful. I would just like to take a generic feedback, even if on the chat or if you want to unmute your mics. Well, how do you feel the solution has been perceived or can be perceived in the market? Do you have such opportunities where you feel this becomes a value add? And is there any gap in the solution which we need to bridge and maybe enhance it for your customers?
And if I'm going to try to think where it will apply, I see it mainly in fairly large retail and multinational chains like hypermarkets or big supermarkets that have multiple chains, with everything that really is in a bigger, let's say, development, like in a mall. These people don't really pay electricity or utilities. It's part of their contract. In the revenue sharing contract, that's the majority of the cases in Egypt currently. So we're looking at chains that are sort of standalone, and they're big enough to think or to invest in that. So that's my view, or how I see where it can be deployed. The bigger challenge is would be the cost of the sensors. Energy is still cheap. I don't think we're gonna get 2 years payback in Egypt. Of course, it depends on the size or the utility bill. But for smaller installations, I think 2 years is quite optimistic as a payback period.
Sure, thanks for that, Fadi. And I agree, payback is not something we can standardize. We cannot claim 20%, 20-month or 24-month payback for all customer or all infrastructure. Depends heavily on the tariff as well. However, on the point you first mentioned, that in mall and high street, of course, this was our concern as well, that if we are going in this market, majority of retailers here operate in malls, and we've been told that their bills are part of the rent, or electricity might still be paid on actuals, but chilled water BTUs are part of the rent. But what's interesting is the H&M use case, or the architecture we showed, this was in a mall. And the reason we selected the site was when we asked the customer, Alshaya, to share their energy bills or utility consumption tracker, we were surprised to see that there were a lot of sites where they were being billed on actual BTUs. And actually, customer was not aware, because these were large format stores, mainly fashion retail, like H&M's and the Debenhams and the Zara's, which are upwards of like 5,000 square feet or so. At least as a trend we've seen in UAE and many other countries, in Saudi and all, in Saudi as well, we've seen that the billing of BTU is being on actual, based on actual BTU meters, and customers were not aware in many cases. It came along with the rental that they needed to pay. There's an extra bill for BTU. Right. So once we started challenging this in the market and just understanding a little further, we were often proven wrong ourselves. And then once we did this savings, of course, this was on the utility because their lighting loads were significantly high, but we are also saving on their BTU bills by controlling the AHUs. So I believe the approach needs to be different. For example, if we are taking a QSR, HVAC, in some countries, it's easily 50% of the overall utility, whereas in some countries, it's like maybe 20, 30. Refrigeration is the main consumer in maybe in some kitchen equipment, sorry, are the main consumer in QSRs. Or in hypermarkets, supermarkets, refrigeration is the main energy consumer. So there the pitch and the solution becomes different. There we focus more on asset health analysis through refrigeration analysis. Basic sensor meter, and then bringing that onto the dashboard. And this has been very well perceived by many customers. We don't go into controls, we go into refrigeration analysis and give them asset health, downtime, and those kind of analysis. It becomes an entry point. So that's why we keep saying that it begins with questioning the customer and understanding what are their main energy guzzlers, what kind of solution to pitch in, what kind of use case to pitch in, and customize based on that. All right, so I don't see any other questions in the chat, and I believe you're already overshooting the time. So yes, over to you, Minna.
Yeah, thank you, Aparna, Dina, and everyone who joined the call today. And thank you for the very quick introduction. We were in deep need of it because most of the team are currently working on such opportunities. So I just want to assure the team that this is not the last session for EBA. We're planning a training, me and Aparna together. We will keep you posted about further details for EBA. And for the upcoming opportunities, because I know that you might be having some ongoing, please reach out to us. We will be supporting you during the quotation and during the project phases until we successfully launch this offer in Egypt. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I was hoping